Survivors of the Aurora theater shooting sharing their heartbreaking stories about what happened inside that theater on July 20th, 2012. Survivors, first responders, and entire family bravely taking the stand today. My co-anchor Eric Connor live outside Arapahoe County Court. And Eric, a tough day all around.
A lot of emotional and heart-wrenching testimony today here at the Arapahoe County Courthouse. Some of it was just downright frightening to hear. The jurors hearing from these brave people telling them that the horror they witnessed inside of Theater Number 9 was just unbearable. None of us can forget, of course, 6-year-old Veronica Moser Sullivan, the youngest victim in the shooting on July 20th, 2012. She was at the Dark Knight Rises movie with her mom and babysitter Kaylin Bailey. Kaylin, now 16, the last witness on the stand.
What seemed to me, what I thought was originally a prank. This rocket thing shot across the theater from the right side of the theater to the left side, and then it seemed as if everyone in unison turned their heads to see what it was. I remember a lot of popping sounds, and I wasn't sure what they were at the time, and then it seemed like instantly after the first round of gunshots went off, Ashley had jumped on top of Veronica and they fell to the floor.
Ashley, Veronica's mother, also hit by gunfire. As a result, she lost her unborn child and is now paralyzed. We also heard from Aurora Police Sergeant Michael Hawkins. He and another officer found little Veronica's limp body shortly after they entered the theater.
There was a girl about 6 years old on the floor.
Did he ask you to do something with regard to this little girl?
Yes, he lifted up her shirt and showed me where she had been shot once in the abdomen. And I tried to obtain her pulse, and I could not.
Why not?
At that point, my own hands were really tingling and pulsing, I would guess from adrenaline. I picked her up, and I ran out of the front entrance of the theater. They all let out a scream.
Veronica's babysitter and family forced to make many split-second decisions, and so was Katy Medley. She was the first person to take the stand today in these statements, telling jurors about the moment she had to leave her husband, Caleb, behind. Caleb was shot in the head. 7 News reporter Marshall Zellinger in the courtroom today to hear their emotional testimony.
The first witness to testify in this trial, Katy Medley. She was 9 months pregnant and escaped the July 20th, 2012 shooting uninjured, but not unharmed.
And that was one of the hardest things I ever had to do, was calling my parents and calling Caleb's parents, because they all thought that I was calling to tell them that I was going into labor. And instead I got to tell them all that Caleb had been shot and was probably dead.
When the gunshots started inside Theater 9, she went to the ground with her friend, then turned to the left to talk to her husband.
I looked up because I wanted to ask him, what are you doing? Why are you still sitting in the chair? And that's when I saw blood pouring from his face, and I knew that he had been shot in the head.
At least 2 jurors appeared emotional as she described when she chose to leave Caleb inside.
So I grabbed Caleb's hand, and he actually squeezed my hand, and I told him that I loved him and that I would take care of our baby if he didn't make it.
The people call Caleb Medley, Your Honor.
Caleb did make it, although severely injured and in a wheelchair. His speech also affected, so he used an alphabet board to spell his answers. He was asked if he was married to Katy and if he went to the Batman movie. Both times he spelled out Y-E-S.
So was Caleb able to be there for the birth of your child?
No, he was literally in brain surgery when I was in labor.
Their baby boy Hugo was born 2 days after the shooting. Marshall Zellinger, 7 News.
Just powerful testimony today, Ann.
And certainly not easy to take in, Eric. I mean, it's sad that we have to brace ourselves to hear these stories and details that really are just unthinkable.
Right, and emotional for the jurors even today, too. We noticed 6 of them were crying, visibly shaken today. Tough on the victims' families already as well. Specifically, one family, the Patria family, all of them in the courtroom today, all of them called to testify. At just the age of 14 at the time of the shooting, Prodeo Patria talked about those terrifying moments when he was trying to dodge a hail of bullets.
Initially planned to go out the original entrance, but my mother told me that there was someone in front of us, so I made a U-turn and ran towards the right exit, and that's when I first felt a gunfire hit me. I just felt something hit me in my lower left back, but I kept running. And once we hit the exit, we met with another group of people. I couldn't tell how many until we opened the door, and I found that it was another couple. I saw that the man was injured and he needed help, so his female friend was on one side and I was on the other side, and we helped him walk through. And after we set him down in the corner, I looked back to find that my mother was on my father's back with a lot of blood on her body.
Of course, all this emotional testimony meant to tug on the heartstrings of the jury, but the prosecution doesn't need to convince them that Holmes was the shooter. We know he was. They need to convince the jury that he was sane at the time of the shooting. They didn't touch on that at all today. The defense also did not cross-examine any of the witnesses, but their time will come. We also wanted to point this out to you today, a lighter moment that we just wanted to share. I just had to tweet this photo out today. It was taken by a Denver Post photographer, a couple and their son, all wearing Batman outfits. The couple was here at the courthouse to get their marriage license and perhaps wanted to make a statement of solidarity and a subtle reminder that our community continues to emerge even stronger in the face of this horrible tragedy.